Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
So guys, we got done doing a 45-minute video and then the sound was all distorted. So we just threw it out. And that was like the third or fourth take. So yeah, they're just trying to shut us up in all new ways. I mean, well, not all new ways. They used to distort the sound before. People would say it's your microphone or this. No, it's not. It's just simply whenever they want to hack in, they hack in. And at some points in time, they do allow us to, get across things technically with no issues, but then they'll just suppress the viewers or they'll demonetize. But there's subjects like, if we're talking like about what we were, spirit guides, and the reality of how this system that's put in place in this world is all about controlling through fear, and that includes the religious system, the indoctrination that's completely fear-based, from punishment of hell, fire, and damnation, and things like that. Well, again, this really is a battle.
It really is, and it does depend on what we're talking about. If it's channeling, if we're doing some kind of a prayer, some kind of a meditation, it really does get messed with a lot. So in some ways, it's exhausting. But you know what? We're gonna keep going. We got to fight the big fight. We came here for a purpose, and we want to talk to you guys about how do you hear and receive information from your spirit guides. And there's all kinds of different ways, providing you're able to kind of lay down your old belief system.
Well, or at least be able to modify and go, with the flow as you become aware of new information. There's so many people that have basically been brought up one way and then shed it. And then, have discovered new things, had new experiences, and no longer fits them. Again, one size does not fit all, and this universe is not intended to be that way. It's not a one-size-fits-all universe. We wouldn't see all the diversity that we see if that was the case.
And I really wanted to point out, and something I talked about on the video that we had to delete, but the natural order of things in this universe, how we are very natural beings. We look at things around us and everything has its own natural way about it. Flowers, they do not need special information for them to bloom. Birds do not need to take a test before they fly. Caterpillars do not need to collect anything. They just really need to eat, and then they make their cocoon and they become a butterfly. There needs to be no extra information for this. And we as beings growing our light bodies we talk to our guides, we speak to our guides. It's a very natural thing for us to do.
Absolutely, as natural as sassy barking.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because these pups, they are so aware of everything that's in the air, too, as the birds go by and all. But yeah, I mean, think about it. Do you think you have to go and apply for a permit to do something on fifth density? Did you pay your taxes? Is there a lien on your property in 5D? Again, this system is, in some ways, I think the IRS system, we've been talking about the IRS so much, is again one that's all about, let's just frustrate them so they can't figure it out. It's not simple. It's not like, a flat rate, 5% of whatever it is goes to them. No, you got all these loopholes, and it's done on purpose to frustrate, to complicate, to create a system in which you got to be in the know. You have to be part of the system in order to benefit from the system. Everybody else gets screwed by the system is the bottom line. And again, this is not a user-friendly system. Thankfully, the higher density realms are not like this. Very, very different. Mother Nature's not like this as well. I was looking for a photo to use for the video, and it was a search of Mother Nature, and somebody put down Mother Nature is Satan. And you know, talk about the distortion and the mindset. It's boggling in many ways to my mind to conceive of how people can be so led astray by their own belief system. They think they're in fear of being led astray, but their fear of being led astray has led them astray.
Right. Ram is giving me kisses here. So, you know, how do we talk to our spirit guides? We need to look to nature, and we need to simply ask the question, you know, spirit guides, how do I talk to you? And remain open. And this is where our belief system comes into play, where we have to make sure that we're not too entrapped in a belief system, because that can bring us limitations. We do want to be in a place where we're accepting, and I would say the majority of guides, angels, ancestors, loved ones, I want to say that they speak through music, which is one of the most popular ways that I have heard that they speak through. You know, Mike and I see them, feel them a little bit differently than that. I can see them with my two eyes, my third eye. I can see them, you know, pretty much anytime, anywhere. But that's come at a price. You know, that's come with people who who didn't understand me, trying to do the right thing, really created some harm. So there's a very safe way of doing things and a very natural way of doing things, and that's just basically following what feels right, following what feels good. And I think the most natural way is probably through music. And a lot of us, I think, have a tough time in this realm because we're having to do things by policy, by procedure. We have to do things in a certain order, somebody else's order, and that just kind of makes us clumsy here on this 3D reality. I mean, some people might be able to do it really good because they might come from a very technical background, and they might have you know, an ancestral lineage that has implemented these technical gifts that they have. But not all of us are that way. Some of us come from a very natural way, you know, like water runs in a stream. We just do, you know, we don't stop and ask instructions because that might screw us up. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I think I've said this before, but it was Albert Einstein that said, if you judge a fish by the way it climbs a tree, then, you know, that's not going to be a very smart fish. You know, it's not going to do very good. And we need to view ourselves that whatever we are made for, whatever we are here to do, we do that in a very good way, but also very naturally.
Absolutely. So, you know, I was quoting in the other video that we did, which we just deleted, I was quoting a biblical phrase that was brought up where it said that Yeshua's disciples came up to him saying, there's a man casting out demons in your name. We tried to stop him, but we couldn't. And he was like, well, why did you try to stop him? Well, he's not one of us. So, you know, again, then he said, you know, don't do that. Just, you know, let him do it. I mean, if somebody is casting out demons, again, the darkness cannot be cast out by darkness. It can only be cast out by light. But you might not recognize the light if you're conditioned to believe that the light only exists in one small little nook or cranny, and one small little dogmatic belief system. You might end up, you know, thinking that a lot of darkness is light and light is darkness, and that's exactly what they've used through this fear-based conditioning. If you feel really comfortable with Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, or Yeshua, then call on them and work with them. That's wonderful. You know, they are definitely beings of light and love. And if you feel more comfortable with Aset, Isis, you know, White Buffalo Calf Woman, with Anandamayi Ma, with Kuan Yin, with Thoth, with you know, we could go on and on with all these different beings, and then work with them. Again, it's all about resonance, because we all basically are different, are unique. We all are unique expressions of Source. Each one of us is Source, exploring its own creation through a myriad of different possibilities and lenses. If you want to really go deep, go real deep, and go slow, then maybe read one verse out of the Tao Te Ching every day and just meditate on that verse. You could alternate by reading a verse out of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali or the Shiva Sutras, and just simply meditate on those. There's so much wisdom in there. It's just amazing. And most people, unfortunately, haven't been exposed to those type of things. The universe is consciousness. As has been said by some of the most brilliant minds on the planet, you can't get behind consciousness, meaning there's nothing that starts before consciousness. Consciousness is. Everything we see is the product of consciousness. Our bodies are created by consciousness to be a vehicle in this 3D realm. Consciousness is not a byproduct of the body. Science gives you everything in reverse much of the time. So again, it also hits me too that, you know, they were casting out demons in the name of Yeshua. And of course, in the Bible, it's going to write Jesus. But they weren't saying, in the name of Jesus, I cast you out, because they didn't speak Latin. You know, they were basically communicating with each other using his name in Hebrew. So it was Yeshua, in the name of Yeshua. But again, it doesn't, you don't even have to use Yeshua's name. It's not that only Yeshua's name is the only name in which you can cast out demons. Somebody had made the comment, I'd like to see you try using Krishna or Vishnu. Well, we have, and we've cast out thousands. This is what we do. You know, we do clearings for people all the time. When I was in Eastern States Paranormal Society, that was part of what I would do. I would go into houses that were quote unquote haunted. And after we did different investigations, it was a fun little experience to be a part of. That was part of my thing, was clearing areas and helping spirits move on and move out of the entrapment that they found themselves in. And Cindy and I together have worked on thousands of people and cleared out thousands of cases of what you could call demonic infestation. And I've never once called on the name of Jesus. We have asked Yeshua for help. We've asked Vishnu. We've asked Isis. We've asked the archangels. We've asked Lakshmi and Ganesha many times. Ganesh has helped us with tons and tons of different things. We've gotten help from Hanuman. We've gotten help from Babaji. We've gotten help from Anandamayi Ma. We've gotten help from many other guides. You know, again, you know, to think that there's only one is completely controller-based thinking. This way, it puts you at odds with everybody that's not of that one particular dogmatic mindset. This is what needs to be overcome, because this mindset keeps you from moving into a 5D perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's so true. That's so true. It's about being, you know, creating our own limiting beliefs, but going back to the natural order of things, your intention is the most important thing. It's the most important tool that you have in your tool belt. So sometimes when we're working with someone, they might need a form of animal medicine. And at that point, that's when I call in White Buffalo Calf Woman, because she can help guide me through that. She's very in tune with the earth, and I listen to her, and I, you know, do as she guides me to do. But there might come a point where, well, something doesn't quite feel right, so who do I listen to? I always listen to me. Guides are wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful, but they're guides. Our incarnation is the most important incarnation that there is. And we came here to experience with their help, but not through them, because they've already come here, had their experience. This is our turn. And once you make it to Earth, you know, that's no picnic. That's not that's not a walk in the park. We really, really, really should give ourselves a pat on the back for making it to Earth. And if we're able to make it past this belief system and actually understand that we are one with Earth and one with everything else, and work with energies through that perception, we really, really come far. Because the situation that we find ourselves in is kind of an entrapping type of a situation where we have to go by man's laws, because Mother Nature, she did not set up anything through man's laws. She set up everything through natural law. So that's where we need to find our space. That's where we need to connect our heart to be the most good, do the most good out of anything that we could possibly imagine. It's all right there inside of us.
Absolutely. And then again, you know, there is a playlist of 35 mantras on EEARTS, so you could use those to contact an assortment of different beings that are out there. You can devise your own as well. The Sanskrit mantras do have a lot of power to them, because Sanskrit is a purer language than what we have with English. Absolutely, it's closer to our root language. There was a time before all these languages that were split where we all communicated telepathically, and then, you know, we unfortunately, they calcified pineal glands. They basically disrupted our DNA. We have the fusing of our second chromosome. They've been dumbing us down for, you know, just generation after generation, thousands of years of dumbing us down, so that we can no longer communicate effectively or efficiently with each other. This is again how they manipulate us into all these different divisive ways. But we're coming out of that, and pineal glands are awakening, Kundalini is being activated, chakras are being cleared, and demonic influences are being expelled. And so if you want to follow one of those mantras, please do. Again, check out the mantra playlist, but you can also just simply attach to any being just by putting out the intention. And if you want to say connect to Thoth, which has been associated with wisdom and knowledge and intelligence, and basically you could even just use the Egyptian Nehes, Dehute, and Dehute is Thoth's name in Egyptian. Nehes is awaken, and you could say Imhotep. I mean, I've just basically done that mantra before, Nehes Dehute Imhotep. Imhotep is peace. And just, you know, invoke him into your sphere of energy. Just visualize him and just feel yourself calling to him. There is a technique that is a Golden Dawn technique, and again, so many of these groups, they might start out with good intentions. Sometimes they don't start out with good intentions. You got to be careful, and you have to discern. And you know, again, you can take concepts that are given in some of these secret societies / these different organizations and groups like the Golden Dawn, and tailor them to yourself. So you could actually just visualize yourself going into a room, or maybe you even just visualize yourself on top of the Great Pyramid, and instead of that last stone being there, the last stone is removed and it's a flat plane. You're on top of the Great Pyramid, see 2 chairs. You sit down in one, and then you see Thoth Dehute sit down in the other, and just simply have a conversation with him. And it's just as simple as that. And again, you could just use that mantra, Nehes Dehute Imhotep, and that will work. The thing is trusting in the impressions that you get, because often we are conversed with and given information, but we might not trust it. You might all of a sudden get a glimpse of something in your mind's eye, and then just think, well, was that my imagination? If it comes super fast, that it's not a concept that arises, it's just something that comes through, that's usually a message from the guide. And then it's good to just go with it and trust it, see where that leads.
It's great. It's great to have conversations like that, and definitely trust yourself, because it's like building a muscle. You're going to be building more and more and more of this conversation. I always tell people, definitely write those things down, these synchronicities that they have, because those are really good for going back and looking to show yourself that, yeah, a lot of these interesting things are happening.
Absolutely. And Sassy agrees.
Yes.
Right, Sass? You agree, right, Sass? She agrees.
Yes.
So, that's some of what we wanted to share, was to communicate, because this is one of the biggest travesties that's happened, is that the controllers have effectively separated most people incarnating here on the planet from their guides, from effectively communicating with their guides. And there are so many people that are trapped into these fundamentalist mindsets where they're terrified of their guides, which there's nobody that wants more good things for you than your guides. In many cases, these are beings that you've worked with for just lifetime after lifetime. Cindy and I actually, we've been able to uncover that we've been here for 5 complete yuga cycles here on planet Earth, and we first came here with Aset from elsewhere. And so when we talk about starseed too, let that settle in, because many starseeds, when you really look at starseed, you might think, well, I come from a lineage that comes from the stars. Well, again, we all do that when you get down to it. And again, we all are galactic mutts, so to speak. There's so much entanglement going on that it's hard to keep track of it all. But at the same time, there are souls incarnate on here on the Earth realm right now, that Earth is not their home planet, so to speak. It's not the first planet they incarnated on, and not necessarily the first solar system they incarnated in, but incarnated elsewhere for many, many lifetimes before coming to Earth. And as we've shared, the Earth was Tiamat before the destruction of Tiamat. And it truly was an amazing miracle to reestablish life here on the planet. And it really took many different benevolent beings to come together and to pull the wreckage of what was, and to make a beautiful, viable place for so many souls to inhabit.
Yes, indeed, indeed. So definitely spend some time with yourself, remembering who you are. Remember and understand what you're good at, because that's a natural thing. It's a great place to start when we're blooming. When our light bodies are being activated, it can be crazy and confusing, but that's when you want to go into that quiet meditation, even if it's just for a minute to 5 minutes, and let the information integrate, and then let yourself be. Don't always be a human doing, be a human being, because that's what we are supposed to do.
As always, guys, thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Make sure you subscribe to both channels. Please do share your knowledge and share these videos everywhere. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.